found. Create a free pledge manager for your project.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Crowdsurfing. My name is Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
My name is Mike Deluxe. Hello, everybody.
We're here to talk about projects on Kickstarter. So before we get started, I want to point out that in 2 weeks, we do Crowdsurfing every 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, it will move to a mostly weekly podcast. I say mostly weekly because there will be some weeks it may not happen.
And it's going to be a podcast.
It's also going to turn into a podcast. That's big news.
Sorry, videocast. This videocast. The main reason for that is that way we can be a little more focused on what's coming out. There will be fewer podcasts, and Z will have a tougher time finding a pick of the week that way.
Yeah, more dice.
You're not wrong.
This is just an excuse for more dice projects. Is that what this is?
I was thinking about it today. I can't remember the last time we've done one of these where I haven't talked about a dice project.
Never. The answer is never.
I don't think it's never, but
probably not.
Great. All right, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing these weekly then, and be able to bring folks news a little more frequently. All right.
All righty. Well, let's see here. I see that some people are getting a choppy feed. Hopefully that will clear out as time goes by. It looks good from our end, unfortunately. All right. Well, here we go.
Looks really good from Mike Delicio's end. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I didn't want to be the one to say it. I'm glad somebody did, though.
Oh, it would have been quite awkward if you had said it, and you would have paid me for no reason.
This is true. This is true.
Why? Was someone paying someone? All right. Let's jump to our projects. First, we're starting with the Shivers.
No, sir.
No.
The shinning.
No.
Want to get sued, boy?
No, we have a barbecue restaurant here in Homestead called Shivers.
Oh, that's true.
And it is quite excellent, actually.
Man, that sounds good.
You just made me stupid hungry.
That's right.
Great job, Tom.
Shivers is good. You could do I think they don't do delivery. I think they only do pickup.
Yeah, I think you can pick up. Yeah.
All right,
Anyhow,
the Shivers.
The Shivers. I actually saw this game at PAX Unplugged last year.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like those books, that you open up and all the stuff pops out. As a kid, I thought those were the coolest books ever. And this one looks sort of like an escape room style game, but with these 3D pop-up things. And it looks like they have several rooms. Each one you play, and they say that there's a magnetic tile interlocking system, which sounds really cool.
Now, I knew that you had seen this at PAX, Tom, and do you know how I knew that?
Because I mentioned it a lot?
Because there's a quote on the page that says, "I saw this at PAX."
No, there's not. Is there really? I missed that.
I think there really is, yeah. I believe there really is as you go down.
Funny.
Yeah, what's interesting to me while you're looking for that is I think that within each room, there's the replayability that they talk about comes from these story cards that you put in different orientations in the back of the rooms. You kind of slide them in. And because that was going to be my biggest question about the game is how replayable is it? And they seem to be saying that it's they go as far as to say it's very replayable. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I don't know much about it other than that, but
I do wish that the rest of the components seemed up to par. Where is it? Yeah, there it is.
You're right. That's hilarious.
I think it's a gorgeous looking game. It's a pricey game, certainly, but I do wish that the rest of the components seemed as pampered, let's say, as those pop-up boards.
Yeah.
It's like all of the brain juice they had went to designing those pop-up boards, and the rest of the components are just some cardboard standees and what have you. And the other concern I had was the replayability, but we've dealt with that. So, yeah, it's neat. I mean, it looks cool. It looks distinct. I'd be happy to check this out. I did not see it at PAX, but I'll still play. You can quote me on that.
You know how I knew that you didn't see it at PAX, Z?
No quote from me.
There's
on
a quote
page
that says, "I didn't see this at PAX." Z Garcia.
They're adding it live.
They're adding it as we speak.
For this.
The other slight concern I have about this, and this is probably, because of my advanced age, shall we say, but they've got magnifying glass included. And I think a stretch goal is a second magnifying glass. And is it really going to be kind of that unlock thing where you're trying to just peer for tiny little numbers on?
Yes.
That's not my favorite mechanic in the world.
They did say some of the clues are quite small. It's not just a gimmick magnifying glass. It sounds like you need one.
I don't love that.
I don't care how replayable it is, honestly. Like, if you can only play it 2-3 times, but it's really cool, and it comes, I don't know, like the core game's 65, but if there's 4 or 5 hours in there, that seems worth it to me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm intrigued. All
right, next. In Magnificent Style Deluxe Edition. This is an update of the classic. I guess it's not super classic. I've never heard of it. In Magnificent Style. This is Pickett's charge at the Battle of Gettysburg, where the Confederates essentially marched across a field right into the Union artillery. It was not a good move. And so there's a solitaire version. I have to say, for a war game, the counters themselves, I thought, looked pretty good.
I don't believe there's a solitaire version. I think it's a solitaire game.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm sorry. Did I say version? I meant game.
Yeah. Okay.
It's only solitaire, this game, which means this should be right up your alley.
Well, this is a situation where I feel like I need to maybe put aside some of my concerns about, wargaming versus not, because I don't know. I have heard of this game before. It does seem to have a pretty strong reputation in the solo community, and maybe adjunct in the war game community as well. But I don't know much about it other than it has a good reputation. I would certainly look at it. It's one that, again, I still feel a little trepidation as far as what's the barrier to entry. I just don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I'm interested in this one. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I will say these kind of newer war games that we're looking at, and I would say the same thing about the 18XX games. They're starting to look better. They're just aesthetically are starting to be more appealing. So
when you get a deluxe version of something like this, it's nice, that that's something true. Like that is available.
Right.
All right. Next we have, Roll Camera, the filmmaking board game. Mm-hmm. Now, here's my concern with this one. The video for this one, very well done, but the guy's a filmmaker, so to be expected. So he mixes a bit of humor, and he shows that this game, it seems like it has a really strong theme. Like, you're going to make a film, and the electricity isn't working. There's some problem, and you solve this problem, and you're placing dice. But as I went through this, they kept talking about the theme.
Right.
And I had the hardest time figuring out how the game works. They kept talking in general things. They're like, everything costs money, work together, use your roles. Well, no kidding. That's every game. Mm-hmm. I did not watch these playthroughs. Maybe that would have made it easier. But I'm saying the actual campaign itself, I don't know how the game works from looking at it. The video seemed more trying to get me to laugh at it and enjoy the game.
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. This designer has a previous game, which is a cute theme, very cute artwork, kind of a party game, kind of a very light, mechanically so-so game, right? Mm-hmm. This one, I think, is bigger. It is, and I don't think it is bigger. The previous game was a little card game. I also think he's still mixing a lot of mechanisms with a funny, party-ish, silly game. Mm-hmm. And I have a harder time telling if that's something I'll like from this one. Because mechanically, it looks like there's a lot going on. I don't want to learn that many rules if the game's just going to be kind of like you ran out of money. Put a fake mustache on everyone. You know what I mean? Like, then if that's what we're playing, I don't want to also learn pattern recognition. The game might be good mechanisms. I'm just having a hard time telling from the page itself.
Right.
That's what I mean. I can't tell. How much of a party game is this? How much of a strategic game? I think it's cooperative, but it doesn't out and out say that. Still, it looks attractive. And it's one that I definitely am enjoying. The video I enjoyed and the look of it. So it's one I'd be happy to play.
This is one of those campaigns that did the opposite with what oftentimes happens to me. Oftentimes I'll look at the beginning of a Kickstarter campaign page and it'll be really flashy and it'll look really good. And I'm like, oh, and then as I scroll down, I'm like, and then by the end I have no interest at all. This one was one where from the very beginning it popped up and I'm like, one of these type games again. And the more I scrolled down, the more I thought, there might be something here. I understand what you're saying, Tom, in that I don't feel like I have a solid grasp on how the game is played, but I do find myself interested in the theme.
I agree. I want to like this a lot.
Yeah. It gives me a little bit of the Knizia game vibe, the Dream Factory, Traumfabrik, not in mechanisms, but in tone and style. So I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Dollars to Donuts. This is from the same team that made Calico and Point Salad. Point Salad, very popular game. I just played it last week, actually. Taught it to my dad. He was looking for a simple game. And I believe, Z, you just played Calico.
That is correct. And I think a review just went up today, like an hour ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I spent much of the video for this game worrying that the daughter was going to get donut stuff on the cards. That was just really bugging me.
Yeah.
The game, I mean, it surprised me that no one has yet made a game with this theme.
Yeah, matching up donuts.
Or with the name, Dollars to Donuts, because that's something we say all the time. Mm-hmm. Based on their previous games, I'm already in.
Yeah.
I think the game doesn't look as pretty as it could be. Those tiles of connecting donuts, they actually look a little mundane to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the theme regardless, and I'm assuming it's a good game.
I'm hoping it's a good game. The look of it, the theme of it, did not do anything for me, honestly. This is not... I like the illustration style. I like those people. Sure. I like the artist. The gameplay did not seem interesting to me. The tile laying, I think mundane's a good way to put it. This looks mundane. And it's also surprising that the Crafty Games is kickstarting this when the previous two games from this design team went to AEG.
Yeah.
Why didn't this one? That seems strange. I don't know. I wasn't into it.
Sure. Well, they have Kickstarters up before. They did the Mistborn House War, which was a game I liked a lot. Again, when I said mundane, I just meant the pictures of the donuts. The game itself, if it follows the way the other games are, who cares? If it's simple, fast, and easy to jump into, I'm on board with it. Mm-hmm. I just thought these donuts, considering how amazing donuts can look, I'm surprised that these don't look that amazing.
I guess they have to be clean. They that was simple.
Correct. I think that if you had gotten too crazy with the graphic design, there could have been usability issues. And I think here they were going for very clear. You don't want to have confusion over, is this a pink donut? Is this a, you want it to be pretty clear.
I actually want a donut now that I've seen it.
Look, all I'm saying is barbecue and donuts as soon as we're done seems to be the way to go.
All right, moving on. Hey, it's dice.
What? Wait a minute.
Hold up.
It's the only dice project this week. Color Spray, which it looks, they made it so the guy has a paintball gun, I guess, and splatters these dice, and that's pretty much what they are. Which I think on some of these dice works really well. On others, like these red with the silver numbering, I would never buy those. You cannot read them.
I'll tell you, the red above it, even with the legible numbers, they look diseased.
Actually, they look like those colorblind tests that they made us take as kids.
That's exactly right.
That too. Yeah. I like the font on these, and there's a
yellow set. Yellow ones look good.
There's a yellow set later on that I really like. The yellow just looks good.
Those are the Return of the Fruity Pebbles dice. Roy did it better, but those look like Fruity Pebbles dice. I also don't understand.
Oh, these?
Why?
Yeah, those are really good. Those look like popcorn.
They do. I don't understand the unlocking these at these really high amounts either. Because why? Why do you need to unlock? Why do you need to get to a certain amount? I guess is my question on this.
That's true, because I look at this now, and these yellow dice, which I actually might buy a set of these, it unlocks at 51,000.
Right.
So I look at it and go, oh, it's not there yet. So then I leave and I don't come back.
Right. And it's not even close at this point.
Yeah. The dice are really inexpensive. That's the other thing. These are actually some of the cheaper dice projects I've seen, or possibly the cheapest for custom dice.
That is true.
So,
all right. Speaking of dice, this is With a Smile and a Gun, a dice drafting game for 2 players. This one here, I'm seeing positive things said about the game, and it's a mafia themed game that looks like it's mafia themed only in very, very loosely. That's the way it looks like. You know, I don't think mafia moves around board dropping cubes in. My concern with this one is everything they show looks like it's from Tabletop Simulator.
Right.
And I'm not convinced the game components look that good. This looks like a Mayfair game back when they weren't making great quality games.
Looks like what was the Knizia game? Times Square. It kind of has that look to it almost.
Yeah, but the components in this look pretty weak. I agree with that. Even Mayfair components tend to be better than this, Tom, or they used to. This made me think of, the first thing it made me think of was a game from, who's the guy who designs Biblios?
Dr. Finn.
Mm-hmm.
From Finn. It looks like a Dr. Finn's game, right?
Yeah.
It's got that vibe. But, yeah, I wasn't loving it. It's cool that this, again, I like mentioning that this is their first project.
Yeah.
This looks like the kind of company that needs Kickstarter to kickstart this game. So from that point of view, cool. If people want to support them, someone who is new to this entire endeavor, fantastic. Does the game look like something I want to back and or play? Not really.
Mm-hmm.
$30, that's not that expensive, right? So there's that. But man, they could have made this game look prettier. Maybe it will, but it's weird to me they're not showing a final product. They're showing Tabletop Simulator.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, folks. Well, we are only 1/3 of the way through. We're going to take a break here to listen to a couple contributors, and we'll be back.
This week's Spotlight is brought to you by Boss Battle Games. Boss Battle is a card game where 3 brave heroes work together to slay an evil monster in the land. Choose between the warrior, mage, and priestess to protect the realm of Galdor by killing the dragon, or seek to conquer it by choosing a uniquely designed dragon boss and annihilating the heroes who dare to get in your way. These bosses are ruthless, and most heroes don't come out alive. Each hero has their own set of unique skills embodied in their deck. As heroes, it will be up to you to develop a battle strategy to defeat the boss. You will mix and match classes to see what exciting results you can achieve. Bosses also have special ways they move in the queue and hinder the heroes. To win, the boss or every hero's health is depleted to 0 and remains at 0 until the end of the countdown phase. Or, at the end of the round 12's countdown phase, the boss instantly takes all heroes' health down to 0. If the boss remains alive, the boss automatically wins and the heroes lose. Check out the campaign, which is now on Kickstarter.
Hey folks, and welcome to FOMO, the segment where I take a look at a game that's currently seeking crowdfunding and maybe I have a fear of missing out on it. Maybe you do too. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how it plays together and decide if this is something we have a fear of missing out on. This week, we're going to take a look at a game called Lizard Wizard. In Lizard Wizard, players will create mystical towers, research powerful spells, summon familiars, and search dungeons for gold and items of power. The player with the most points at the end of the game will rise above the rest and control the land. This game is for 2 to 5 players, takes about 45 to 90 minutes. On a turn, a player will take one of the following actions. They'll either gather ingredients, which allows a player to speculate on commodities in the game by playing a card to gain reagents on top of the card, while increasing the value of the reagents on the bottom of the card. They can convert ingredients into mana by selling any number of one type of reagent to the market, gathering mana according to the current value, but also decreasing the value in the market. They can bid on the services of wizards by choosing one of the wizards available and putting it up for auction. Wizards allow a player to collect additional reagents when gathering. You can summon magical towers and familiars or research new spells by purchasing them from the board. Spells can have an ongoing or instant effect when used. Familiars have a choice of effects when taken, including the option to explore the dungeon. When exploring the dungeon, a player flips over cards looking for treasure and items. But this is a push your luck thing, so encountering 2 monsters will stop your quest and result in you gaining nothing. As the game progresses, towers and familiars will also become more expensive and the dungeon will grow more perilous. The endgame scoring is all about set collection. At the end of the game, a wizard or a tower on its own is worth single point. However, a wizard paired with a tower, it's worth 5 points. A wizard and a matching tower is worth 10 points. But every spell that matches that wizard tower combo that's been casted in the game contributes an additional 5 points. Players also add the value of their collected gold, any additional points from spells and achievement tiles. And finally, the player with the most items collected from the dungeon gains 10 points, and the player with the second most collects 5. The player with the most points is the winner. Alright, so that is a look at Lizard Wizard. Lizard Wizard. Say that 10 times fast. I don't think I can. So beyond just a fun name to say, is this a fun game? Is this a FOMO? Well, this is a successor, a sequel to Raccoon Tycoon, a game that I already really love. And the first thing I noticed is same artist. And one thing that I adored about Raccoon Tycoon was the artwork. They told me this story about how the artist makes these oil paintings. And that happened again for this game. And honestly, I think I like the art in this one even more. I know the theme for me was more appealing than Raccoon Tycoon. As much as I love Raccoon Tycoon and its cutesy nature, I really, really loved the wizards and the towers and the familiars. That theme drew me in. But at the end of the day, this is commodity speculation. This is engine building. This is push your luck. This is take that. All things that I love. Now, as to the take that nature, that's the one thing I really do want to address in this game, because this game can at its core be really mean. I can buy out wizards and, well, wizards I have to auction, and I'll get back to that. But I can buy out towers from under you. I can buy out familiars, things that I see you're trying to get. But also there's some spell cards that allow me to directly really mess with my opponents. And one thing I really liked in the rule book is that they actually listed out those cards that if that's not your cup of tea, you can take those cards out. For me, I would always play them in because I love that. I also love the dungeon mechanism. I love going through, pushing my luck, trying not to bust essentially so I can get those items. And I love the commodity speculation in this game. But the one thing that is really important and what really drew me in is I realized early on, I had to make decisions quickly. I had to decide, what am I going to do? What type of wizards and towers do I really want? And are my opponents going to do those same things? Because I could diversify early, but then if I decide to go into specific schools and try to get my sets, well, now those things have gotten more expensive. So overall, if you already love Raccoon Tycoon, this is a no-brainer. I think you're going to love this game, especially if the theme appeals to you a lot more like it did for me. If you've never played Raccoon Tycoon, I definitely recommend checking this one out. It is just a wonderful, beautiful game, and you're going to get a lot of looks at the table of what is that? And they're going to really want to play it. So if this one interests you, go ahead and check out their Kickstarter page. It is still running, and I look forward to seeing you folks next episode.
Alrighty, let's take a look at a few more games. First from Azure Horizon Games, which is a new company. And this is a game called Kleos or Kleos.
Yeah,
I watched the video. I think he said Kleos.
Oh, you're right. I watched it for that exact purpose. And then I said, I'll remember this, and I forgot. This one, you know, this game has this half hexagon map, which really reminded me of that winemaking game I played a while ago.
Let's not talk about wine yet, baby. That's coming up.
That's after the barbecue and donuts.
That's a few things away. The art in this looks good. The card printing, though, looks like it's really hard to read.
Yeah, because it's sort of like brown lettering on a
Right.
tan background, a lot of text. The card frames and the text box and all of that stuff looks artistically well made. It also looks like a collectible card game. It has that vibe.
Right.
I'm loving the artwork. I'm not sure about the game, but I'm loving the look of this.
This one's a real tough call for me because the idea of being a Greek god, and then I like these hoplite meeples and all this stuff, but the rule book is still under construction. The game seems, I don't know, it's not grabbing me for some reason. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
And Mark says there's good combinations in here, but we're just gonna have to wait and see on this one. It's a first-time publisher, so it's a crapshoot when you have that sort of thing.
Yeah,
it seems like an ambitious project.
Right, it does, and it looks like it's a good-looking campaign page for a first project. I'm of the opinion that I can't quite tell. We were talking earlier about not really knowing what the game is about. I'm really kind of struggling to figure out what this game is about too. So we'll see.
You mean how it's going to feel, basically?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, then we have Turris. This is the second time this game has been launched. And when I first saw this game, I thought for sure this had something to do with the game from Breaking Games. Because that giant alligator monster on it looks almost exactly the same. What's that game called? The one that we're about to play. It's coming out soon. Remember we played it?
Dwellings of Eldervale.
Dwellings of Eldervale. That crocodile monster looks like he escaped from Dwellings at Eldervale.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't dislike that artwork. I do think they did one of these things like, hey, look, we're going to make these giant monsters that are so much bigger than the actual playing meeples. But I like the art. I like the monsters. This one is giving me almost a Kemet vibe to it. I'm hoping so.
I'm way off base with that. I don't like the artwork in this. This looks, I don't know. I'm getting a real, this is me, sounds meaner than I mean it to, but I'm getting a real high school kid drawing in his notebook vibe. With the artwork, the monsters. If you go back up, like the second of the big monsters looks like a pile of plastic out of focus. I mean, what is that?
Okay, I'm not arguing that one.
That looks like a Cthulhu
and then also
Wars
the voiceover for the video sounds like a child at the voiceover. I was very confused. This whole thing is very confusing.
Okay,
I just feel like it's inconsistent. That's the word I would use, because to me, when you go to those I think the character art actually looks quite good. Like that character art I think looks fine to me. But then there are other things that I just don't think kind of hold up. And those cards, those black cards, I don't know if those are not the mission cards, the ones above them there. They look neat, but they look like they're from a different game.
Okay, that I agree on, but I do think the graphic design looks really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really torn on this one. I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, it's essentially their first game. That's the thing. I went to look, and the only other game they did was the same game that failed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping. I hope this one looks cool. And look at that person's about to punch that worm in the teeth.
I wouldn't go with the teeth. That wouldn't be the first place I'd look to punch on that animal. I'd be looking elsewhere.
I don't want to know.
Our next one here. This one is not funding at a huge level.
Yeah.
It is how do you pronounce this?
Tutankhamun.
Tutankhamun. This is actually a reprint of a game from Out of the Box Publishing from Reiner Knizia. That game was there was a little tiny bit of art in it done by John Kovalik, who does Apples to Apples and the Munchkin art. But I'm sorry, it's not even close. This game looks that much better.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, they took it to a completely other level. And from what I remember of the game, it was one of those kind of old school Knizia games where you could teach the rules in 2 minutes and you're like, that's all there is to the game. There can't be any game here, but there's some pretty interesting things that happen.
Well, it's essentially just move as far as you want, but you can't move backwards. It's the first game I ever played that had this mechanism in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, wow, this is simple and has a good thing. I like this game a lot. Yeah. I just thought it looked boring, and they solved that with this.
Right.
And the way that I think with this edition, the reason this might not be doing as well is they've got the game is very light, yet they have 3 tiers of editions, with the highest one being really expensive, but it's the same game. It's like this little filler. I mean, it's a really light, neat game.
Wow,
but I don't want to pay
$64.
Right.
So I look at that and I go, well, it looks great. Then I go back to the original one, which is cheap, and now I look at it and go, oh, it looks cheap compared to the one I just saw. Right. And then I leave,
Yeah.
That's the problem. Not every game needs to have
playmat, though. That's the thing. You 100% don't need a playmat for this one.
No, you do not. I don't need a Pharaoh edition for every game. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, this isn't an heirloom game. This is, like you said, a cool, thinky filler game.
Now, I will say this artwork, this style of illustration on these animated little things is lovely, and it makes me think of like Take On Me, the music video. Take on me. I love it. I don't know how they did that, but I love that animation.
Yeah, it's great.
That is really nice. I like the look of the whole thing, and I already know I like the game. Yeah. So I'm pretty pleased about that.
And the publisher has done some good stuff too. 25th Century, I've enjoyed some of their.
They're a little all over the place for me. Let me see what they have here. They have
Space Explorers. I liked a lot.
I'm actually next week. I'm reviewing Winter Chicken Dinner, but that's a nice kids game. And
wow, yes, that was seamless. That was seamless. What a professional. What a professional.
I love Tom sneezing on camera. It's one of my favorite things. Oh, my gosh.
Much stuff in the office. All right, Christmas lights. Christmas lights I hated. But it was
Space Explorers is good. But I'll agree with Mike on that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them.
Well, are you wanting to drink?
Yes.
Sommify, a blind tasting wine game. Now, I'll tell you this. When I was first looking at this, I thought, okay, someone made a game about wine. I didn't realize you actually drink wine in this game.
Yeah, it's more about getting together and drinking wine than a game, really.
But it tells you someone's supposed to bring wine for a blind testing. And if you can't do that, they're like, well, we got this thing, you could get some wine. I'm like, wait, is this like a game that get you hooked on a wine subscription?
It has a subscription service. Yeah. The impression from what I could tell, the kind of the etymology of this game was that these people were actually trying to become sommeliers, and they were studying for the exams you would take, and they designed something to make that process more enjoyable to them. If I caught that correctly. And so to me, it feels less like a game and more like, hey, do you really want to learn about wine? And this is a kind of a fun way to do it. But it seems like such a niche thing to me. I'm actually quite surprised that it's funding.
Well, I'm thinking about pledging us $500 for Z to get them to come in and do a real life game night with Z.
Let's do it.
You know what's funny? The main thing that jumps out at me looking at this is this seems like the refined version of like a low down drinking game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you've seen those like checkers sets that every piece is made of a shot glass.
Right.
You put like rut gut in there and like you take a piece and shoot that. Right. This is like that, but like elevated to now be wine. So there's a few more rules. You're still drinking. There's a few more rules, a little more elegance. It's the drinking game. I mean,
I put it on here because it is funding. It's at $20,000. So congratulations
to them. The video also was very funny. The video was very well done. Very funny.
All right, then we have, I'm all right at the bottom of this one. And, okay, now this one here.
Oh, yeah.
This one is making oodles of money. Escape the Night board game. And I was like, why? So I looked
Right,
up.
somebody has to tell me what this is. What is
this guy
IP?
has a very
TV show?
popular YouTube channel.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, he
Okay.
says that in his description.
Yeah.
Yes.
This
Yeah,
game.
I thought it was a TV show, but okay.
Well, it says, I don't know.
I don't know.
So he has this game, and you're inviting people. Is it roll and move? I couldn't tell. The board looks
Yes.
like you. Huh?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like. Did you watch the video?
I watched part of it.
It's hilarious. I mean, it's basically like the voiceover's great. It's clearly a voiceover artist, and he's talking about how you'll be pitted against one another. Like the more he explains mechanisms, the harder I was laughing. The final round in the game, you just flip over a sand timer. And only in the final round, you flip over a sand timer, and everybody takes turns as quickly as possible to escape the night. It's like, yeah, no. I mean, it's a roll and ride or like a goofy party game, but with not a party game, but, a light game. It's funding because I'm guessing it's bringing an audience that already enjoyed this content from this designer. So the game looks very nice. The illustrations,
the production
everything,
looks
but
terrific. Yeah.
it doesn't look like a good game, I think.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. That was my thoughts. Like, it looks like a good game from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that board looks like a Clue board.
It really does.
It really does.
So I don't know, but again, hey, if he can pull in $500,000 by making a board game, you go for it.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, we got a few more projects left, folks. We'll be back in just a minute to talk about those. Let's listen to some more people.
Hey, Board Gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Crowdsurfing Lanyap. That's right, I'm bringing you projects that won't break your budget, but throw in a little something extra. Here's what I'm checking out this week. With a Smile and a Gun is a brand new game from designer John Valeron on Kickstarter from Subsurface Games. Here's a look at an alternative time of prohibition and gangsters. It's a two-player game, a tete-a-tete where each player tries to control the mean streets of Gatlin City. You will place your influence on the city blocks, trying to control the tiles that score points, stuff like contraband, other items, or even get the use of the dark magic from the infusion cards. But at heart, this is a dice drafting game, using the dice you choose to power the actions. Take too many powerful dice, however, and the police will see your heat and give your opponent a bonus. Plus, behind the scenes is the mysterious shadow, and each game is a different card representing the shadow and what challenges you will face. Imagine a sinister Al Capone with a little dark magic behind him, pulling the strings on all of the crime in the city. The random choices and combinations of those shadow and infusion cards really give this game a lot of replayability. Plus, there's a little bit of lanyap, custom shadow and player meeples, and some bonus infusion and shadow cards. The game's only $29 plus shipping, and if you like two-player games, there's a lot of game in this little box. So that's with a Smile and a Gun from designer John Valeron and publisher Subsurface Games out on Kickstarter right now. We enjoyed our plays of the game, and the price is right, only about $29 to get this travel-sized game with a little bit of lanyap, those sweet meeples, and those bonus cards. Remember, you can get far with a smile, but you'll get a lot farther with a Smile and a Gun in your backpack at the next game night. Until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview recap. I'm Mark, and today we're going to be casting spells, and we're going to be battling it out with a boss level dragon, and we're going to be stopping by New York. We also might pay a visit to Hogwarts briefly. All right folks, let's jump in and take a look. All right, let's kick it off with Lizard Wizard. Astoria is a land pulsing with magic and intrigue. A handful of archmages are vying for the loyalty of wizards across the land so they can wield ultimate power. While competing to recruit wizards from 7 unique schools of magic, you will also have to create mystical towers, research powerful spells, summon helpful familiars, and search dark dungeons for gold and items of power. Lizard Wizard is an action selection game, and on your turn you will perform one of 6 actions. You will be gathering magical ingredients called regents. You'll convert these regions into mana, the energy necessary to cast spells. You will compete with the other archmages to recruit wizards from 7 schools of magic. You will create magical towers that will amplify the power of your wizards. You will summon familiars to help you with your tasks, including exploring the dungeons of Astoria. You will also research and cast powerful spells. At the end of the game, you will receive points for having the best wizard and tower combinations, gold, and scoring spells. In Lizard Wizard, only one archmage will rise above the rest and control the land. Will it be you?
So you're going to be gathering components for your spells, and you'll be manipulating the market to get the best price on those components as well. Also, there's some set collection here, gathering certain wizards and towers as well as spells to give you the best sets at the end of the game. Also, my favorite part is the dungeon diving. Push your luck element. You're going to be gathering gold and items and so forth. Definitely some really fun choices in this game. And next up, we have New York Crisis.
Upon leaving the theater, the Smith family chatted about the show they had just watched. They had never seen a performance like that, and as they exited to Times Square towards their hotel, they commented what a great idea taking this trip to New York had been. Suddenly, shots rang out. New York Crisis is a cooperative game where you, the players, will take on the role of members of the Smith family who accidentally find themselves in a serious crime that took place right in front of them. You will have different scenarios to play each game, where the characters will have to explore Manhattan and collect clues to find out what happened while avoiding the mafia and police, so they can prove their innocence before it is too late. Each story includes different challenges and mechanics to test your skills. So your goal here, as the family, is to collect enough info tokens, reveal all the story cards, all before the alert track reaches its limit.
So this one has an interesting premise to it. You as a family are on a vacation and you get caught up in a major crime. You have to find the info and deal with the mafia while avoiding the police. There's a lot of back and forth as you try to race against the alert level and find the clues in time and move through those different story cards. There's also a ton of different scenarios that you can play as well. Really neat. And finally, we have Boss Battle.
Boss Battle is a card game where 3 brave heroes work together to slay evil monsters in the land. Choose between the warrior, mage, and priestess to protect the realm of Galdor by killing the dragon, or seek to conquer it by choosing a uniquely designed dragon boss and annihilating the heroes who dare to get in your way. These bosses are ruthless. Most heroes don't come out alive. Each hero has their own set of skills embodied in their deck of cards. As heroes, it will be up to you to develop a battle strategy to defeat the boss. Mix and match classes to see what results you get. Bosses also have special ways they move in the queue and hinder the heroes. In order to win, the bosses or every hero's health is depleted to 0 and remains at 0 until the end of the countdown phase. Or, at the end of round 12's countdown phase, the boss instantly takes all heroes' health down to 0. If the boss remains alive, the boss automatically wins and the heroes lose. In either case, if at the end of the countdown phase both parties are at 0 health or lower, it will result in a tie game.
So this is a battle card game. And the interesting thing here is that one player will play as the boss level character with endless options, all kinds of firepower. And the other players can team up, 3 of them, having your standard fantasy tropes here, but you're ganging up against the boss using buffs and debuffs, helping each other out, moving along the lanes of the board to attack and defend. Now, interesting thing is that you can actually turn the boss into basically an AI deck and play just against, cooperatively just against a boss deck. Some interesting choices here, and I can't wait to see all the different possibilities of bosses, because in this case, the only one I got to play with was the dragon, which was particularly tough. But I really look forward to see what else they do with this game. All right, so my pick of the week. I'm going with Lizard Wizard. So they took a lot of what they did in Raccoon Tycoon and just made it so much better. But personally, it's really the theme that does it for me. I like this one much better than the trains in Raccoon, and I really like all the enhancements they made to this game. And the whole marketplace with components for spells and stuff, that works and thematically works so well. It's pretty neat, actually. So I like that. And then you gathering like wizard towers to give you more room to store components. There's all kinds of neat things like that. And again, like I said before, the dungeon diving, the push your luck, flipping cards, one more, give me one more card. I like that a lot. Now, I teased that we were going to Hogwarts, yes, but this is not a Kickstarter game. This is a published game ready to go. So the thing about it is that it's a bit of a gateway. It really is a nice entry level into worker placement style games. But if you're a Harry Potter fan, this is something you're going to want to check out. It definitely has all the characters, and you feel like you're truly competing for the House Cup with some awesome visuals and different locations that you get to visit and so forth. But dropping the crystals into the beakers for the House Cup there, super, super cool. No joke, look what I stumbled upon while I was filming the Harry Potter segment. All right, folks, if you want any more information about any of the games I mentioned here, please go check out our full previews. And if you want your game featured as a Dice Tower preview, please shoot me an email. All right, folks, until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Unicorn! All righty. Let's go. We got 5 more projects to look at. First one is Pigs Playing Magic Commander's Quarters Playmat. Now, this one I put on here just because at first it blew my mind. Mm-hmm. This is a single play mat, which we've sold on our Kickstarter, that has made this company $43,560.
Yeah, but there's pigs on it playing Magic the Gathering.
Correct.
That one pig has cheesy nachos in his hand. He's about to touch the cards.
Yeah, that's one of the many Easter eggs that you can find. Can you find them all? Number 6 will astound you.
Okay. Actually,
there better be 43,000 Easter eggs in this thing. That's all that's
as far as I can tell, this is basically their fundraising for their channel.
Yeah.
So they did that. I just put it in here. I actually don't hate this art. I think this art's fine. I like this picture.
Cute.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a cool picture. I was just like, wow, 43,000. There you go for one playmat.
Good on you.
All right, ready to spend some moolah? Deluxe Meeple upgrades for Wingspan, Oceana, and Pendulum. Now, I know I say this every time we take a look at one of these Kickstarters, but oof.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
I love this stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
But like this 80-piece set of Oceana birds is $74. They're so amazing. Pretty. They are really gorgeous. Pretty. In fact, these birds have me pretty excited about the newest expansion.
Yeah, for an expansion that's not out.
Correct. Yeah, Oceana expansion. So they already have birds for Wingspan. If you buy this, you are literally just being greedy at this point because I think I have the first 2 sets of it, and there was enough for me to put in 2 copies in the library and for Z to take a copy of them himself. And I still think we have some left over.
Yeah, I took some back. Took some back to work.
Because you only need enough 5 players, right?
Right. Yeah, this is player sets, and so this would be like getting, which I think there's games that have done it. It's like getting 18 player colors, but it's a max of 4 people or whatever.
But listen, you can buy that 80-piece bird set plus the original 2.
Yeah.
For $248. How much do you like Wingspan?
Man.
Yeah, you need it.
Here's the thing. For significantly less money, I have it on good authority that you could get all of those actual birds for less.
I was going to say you could get a bird for cheaper. Okay, yes, your thing's funnier.
That's messed up. You could take the bird, you could lacquer said bird, use it as a star player token.
You can even get extra birds like the dodo, who's extinct.
Brought back the
maybe
dodo.
So then Pendulum, where they are charging you $34 for 35 pieces, so you get 1 for free.
Is that how that works? Buy 34, the 35th is free. It's like a punch board.
That's right.
I'm just trying to figure out how they come to these amounts of money, right? They're like, it's $1 Meeple. You know what? Give them $1 off. These look pretty cool.
You can have this one.
And these might add a bit of theme to a game that's pretty themeless. I don't dislike these, but if I I'm going to put Pendulum in the Dice Tower library. I don't think I'm going to use these to upgrade it. I don't think it's worth it.
No, that's one that basically I feel like there's no point. I mean, it's not it's just replacing the little workers and the grande workers, right? That's all that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Now I do like this bird food. I like these a lot. $32. That I like a lot for Wingspan.
I've talked to you about this before. I actually prefer the acrylic upgraded food for Wingspan, but that's nice too.
And these wooden pieces for side, they're nice. I tend to like this stuff better. Mm-hmm. The viticulture in Tuscany, that's okay. Mm-hmm. I don't care if these are in the game or not. Just a few workers. Whew, Meeple soars every time. And how much are they making from here? Only 28,000. This is actually lower than normal.
Well, it's 2 games that aren't available to the public right now.
That's true. Oceana's not out yet.
No.
And Pendulum,
pre-order was today.
It's in the pre-order.
Yeah, I think that's what it's about.
Okay. Interesting that they launched this so early, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to wait for people to be into the game before you hit them with this?
See, I just got in the mail from this company, Meeple Source. I got some deluxe pieces, and I was like, what game are these for?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I got them yesterday, too.
Well, what game is it for? I can't even remember now.
Dwellings of Eldervale.
Oh, it's for Dwellings of Eldervale. And I finally got an email that told me, because there was nothing in the package.
Okay.
Right.
So I got the Meeple Source stuff before the game.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, I got it yesterday.
All right. Petrichor, Collector's Edition, and Cows expansion. So Petrichor is a game where I really love the theme of this one. You're a cloud, and you're moving around over top of a bunch of flowers and things, raining on them. Your color rain, anyway.
Yeah.
Basically, it's an area control game, and you drop these things down, and then you move your cloud around. It's a very simple game with a fairly unique theme, I think. In fact, okay.
Tom, would you say, Tom, that if you take a good, solid area control game, you put some unique things in there, you put a theme that's not only unique but interesting in there, and that works, would you say you have a game in that case that you are pleased with?
I really need to work on my quotes. They sound better when I'm talking. And when they're written down, I look at them like, what a moron. Anyhow, so how could you make a game that was pretty good better? Well, you can add cows.
You got to be careful. They're going to quote you on that. How do you make a game that was pretty good better? You add cows, Tom Fassel.
Right.
Oh, man.
Better than that, I believe it's game trees.
Look at that. Those are beautiful.
Along with a picture that shows how it all fits in the box, and you'll never remember it unless you put a sheet in your box that shows you how they all fit in.
Good, real good.
This is really cool. I'm just a little concerned that I've played this game and I like it. It ain't this big. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're getting to the point now where we're making a lot of games really big and awesome, and no one's ever going to play those versions.
Right.
Like we have that Suburbia in the library. No one has checked it out yet.
Yeah.
So
intimidating also.
Huh?
I mean, there's that to it. It's a little intimidating.
Right. It's
so big. Yeah.
Well, I like Petrichor quite a bit. It's actually in my top 40 the last time I did one. And I actually got a chance to play this new Cows expansion. I like what it does. So I'm obviously excited about it, but I do understand your point about it. The base game especially is a pretty simple game. Each successive expansion has kind of made it more potentially complex if you want to go that route. But
I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you look at all the stuff in that box, I just feel like it's almost overwhelming. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
This game was actually one of David Tursi's lightest games, actually.
Correct.
His stuff's usually much heavier than this.
Well, the main designer is David Cherkop, the guy who did And Then We Held Hands. David Tursi came on and did more of like the expansion stuff.
Got it. All right, D&D, Dice Tower, and other Dungeons & Dragons accessories. So I actually heard about this, I don't know, like 2 months ago before it hit Kickstarter. They had emailed me about it, and this is a dice tower and other accessories that look really, really cool, and yet fairly impractical for me.
Okay.
This, it almost feels like they have all these, like that dice tower looks really cool. And don't get me wrong, I'll stick a dice tower like that on my shelf. I also like the fact that there's 3 holes that you can knock the stuff down in. But these storage boxes, why? I don't think they're that, I don't know. Not especially for the pricing.
Right.
$25 for one of those, I don't know.
Yeah, these kind of
Although they do have rare earth magnets.
Yeah, they do. These kind of high-end boutique dice towers, that's becoming an increasingly crowded market. And really what's setting it apart? Is it the laser etching? I don't know. I've seen that before. Is it the different shapes? Well, I've kind of seen that before. Is it magnets? No, I've seen that before. So I'm not sure what really sets this apart unless you just particularly like that aesthetic.
These coasters with dice in the bottom seems like a really horrifically bad accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
You will spill your drink.
Correct. Or you will put your dice in the drink.
Was someone sitting around asking for this project? Like, I would like
this is a solution it's a solution for a problem that doesn't exist.
I think I want something to hold my drink, and then when I'm done, I want a table on a table.
It seems really weird. I agree. I don't know why. Like, who needs to keep their dice in a spot next to their drink, and why?
Now, if they could just make
whose dice are who, that's my drink.
If they can make a
so it's
serving,
like a charm for a drink, for like a wine glass. Got it.
If they can make a serving platter with a card holder, now that would actually be practical. That makes a lot of sense, right? So you're bringing a turkey out to present to the table, and you've got your set of cards there. Now that makes a lot of sense.
I love it. I love it, Mike. Yes.
Soup cup with chits, a chit tray. There's a whole line here, guys. We could do this.
That's right. Game Tray's gravy boat. I mean, it just keeps going on and on.
All righty. Here we go. Last one. Vinyl, Big Band Edition, and Vinyl Jukebox. So I played Vinyl. I don't know if either of you have.
I have. Yeah, I've played all the expansions too. I like it.
So Vinyl is a fairly light worker placement game where you're collecting a records of different genres. I believe it's jazz, pop, rock, and something else. There's
Country.
4 in the base game. Huh?
Country,
right. And then there was an expansion for heavy metal and 80s. And now they have some more coming, including 2 of my favorite genres, which is big band and jukebox. I guess jukebox is more 50s, 60s, but...
Yeah. Jukebox is a standalone 2-player game.
Oh, that's right. But I think... Was there a way to combine them, I think they said?
Oh, there may be. I think you're right. I think you could also kind of put it into the game. Yeah.
I just love the look of vinyl. I remember when they first came in, I just went through all the records.
Yeah.
Because they look like real record covers. They're not. And it's a little clunky, the game at points. But man, I'm excited about this. I'm glad this exists.
I am too. Yeah. The thing that bugs me a little bit, if I'm being honest, is that I've got all of the stuff. I've got the original vinyl, which isn't that old, and I've got all of the expansions. And it looks like all they did was redo the covers, from what I can tell. And if that's the case,
buy the new ones.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to buy the new ones, but
no. I mean, buy the new expansions.
Well, maybe so. But then, as long as they haven't changed the graphic design or the iconography on the cards, I'll be okay. As long as they can mix seamlessly in with what I already have, and it looks like they do, then I'll be okay. But I would be a little bit bummed out if I get the big band expansion and it doesn't look the same as my 80s expansion, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. That would be a mistake.
Right. I'm not saying that's the case. That was my only potential, but it does look, just looking through it, it looks like it's cohesive.
All righty, Mike, it's time for the moment of truth. What is the pick of the week for you?
Any guesses?
Jeez.
I'll say King Tut.
King Tut?
I'm gonna
or
say
the Big Mac.
I'm going to say Petrichor Collector's Edition.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't even close this week. It was a Petrichor. This is one of my favorite games. This is when you know how oftentimes you get asked hidden gem games and under the radar games. I always mention Petrichor because I just think it's really, really a solid game with a unique theme. I'm very excited about the game trays insert. I'm excited about the new clouds. I like what the cows expansion adds. It adds, believe it or not, it adds methane crystals that the cows produce as ways that you can manipulate your cards. And that was something that I felt like was maybe could have been a weaker point of the base game, is that sometimes you were kind of waiting for particular cards, and now you can manipulate those cards a bit. So I'm really excited about this one.
Disgusting.
All right, see, what about you?
Any guesses for me?
King Tut.
No. Maybe.
Oh,
I don't know.
No. That,
Yeah, I almost feel like we have to go back through them again. Maybe. Oh,
this one. No, it's still King Tut. Sorry. The wine game. Sommify.
No.
No. It could have been one of any. It could have been one of a number of things because nothing really, really super grabbed me. I'm going with Roll Camera, the filmmaking board game.
Okay.
That seems the most personal from a small company. You know what I mean? That one's really. That one seems like this person's expression of what they wanted their game to be brought to, I think, the best point they can bring it to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It feels very much their game. So that gets my thumbs up.
That's a good pick. Cool. That's a good pick.
Tom, that was pretty easy.
I don't know.
I think he's going to Shivers. I think he's going with the Shivers.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The Shivers. The fact that we call every time I see it though, I think Shivers because of that restaurant. But this one, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, please be good, please be good. I mean, I'm still saying that.
Sure.
But as a kid, I was always fascinated by the engineering feat that these were. Yeah. Like how they managed to fold it all. When you opened it, it popped up.
Yeah.
I still, those board games that new Cam Up that has it. I'm like, what? And if this has that escape room in, I'm looking for escape rooms that do something different, and I think this is one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I hope it's good.
Pick.
I really do. Yeah. It looks great.
All righty. Well, that's it for this week, folks. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more Kickstarter goodness. We'll be here tomorrow morning with a What's Happening, and then directly after What's Happening, Board Game Breakfast. So lots of live stuff. And our review of Pandemic Legacy Season 0 is either live or going live very soon.
Just dropped. Watch that right after you click off of this. Go right to that.
All righty. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Mike Delisio. Take care.